Despite how absolutely beautiful the entire island of Tasmania is, I had to focus on one area. So I decided to go closer to the northern coastline in a township called Launceston, Tasmania, where north of that is an area called the Tamar Valley. East of the Tamar is a subregion called Piper's River, and that houses a winery called Bay of Fires and the House of Arras, where Ed Carr is a sparkling winemaker for both brands. This morning, I'm going to run and catch up with Ed and do a bit of fly fishing before we go and check out the winery and probably get into drinking way too many sparkling wines, which is my absolute favorite. So, wish me luck on catching a fish. Big fish.
It is.
It's practically enough to feed us both right there. Here, I'll grab the net. Yeah. Hey, you fish? No. Hands are freezing.
Yeah.
Have you ever cleaned a fish before?
Not for a long time. It's certainly not a trad either. So
it's been a few years since I've cleaned one, so we'll see how we go with it. But the one thing I do remember is you gotta go right up the pooper. Some eggs. You want a bit of caviar?
not right now.
There we go. Oh. Feed the birds. There we go. That's some good meat. This duck's going for it. Oh well, everyone's got to eat.
That's right.
At least they're not getting the fish. We get to take that back. There's actually a good restaurant where we can cook it up really close by and get the chef to get that up. And I think they might have a wine list we could duck into too.
That'd be good.
Yeah. We can cook up this guy and have a bit of a breakfast. It was great to finally meet Ed Carr. Ed is someone who's built a reputation for himself throughout Australia, if not the world, for making some of the top sparkling wines outside of Champagne. Now, these sparkling wines in Champagne are obviously called Champagne and they use method Champenois. Yet here they use the same production methods, most of the time the same grape varieties, but it's called method traditionnel. So these are the House of Arras range.
These are the House of Arras range. Yes, there's 5 wines. The first one is the Brut Elite. This one's predominantly Pinot Noir, so there's 60% Pinot Noir in the blend. It's all hand-picked fruit, and the next one is a vintage wine. So this is called the Grand Vintage, 2004.
Sparkling wine production is done on a vintage by vintage basis, so that in exceptionally good years, a champagne house or a winery here can produce a vintage champagne or a vintage sparkling that utilizes all the great fruit from that one year. Now, most houses and wineries also produce a non-vintage or an NV sparkling, which utilizes a variety of fruit from different years in order to create a sparkling that is well balanced, consistent in quality, and can stand in the wine industry today as that winery's benchmark sparkling wine. So now we're moving into the rosé.
To the rosé. So rosé should be soft and plush as well, but still be bright and fresh.
But it's great when you can try certain styles of rosé like this one that are still dry and complex and absolutely delicious. The last one has the Blanc de Blanc.
Yeah, we're moving into 2 of the most aged of the range here now. So this is Blanc de Blanc, which is 100% Chardonnay.
On the nose, it's just so much stronger, so when it's aging on those leaves, I imagine it just pulls so much more of that yeasty breadiness into the wine, which is what really gets my jollies off about sparkling wine.
Yeah, it really does have that intense lees age character, but it is still remarkably fresh. 1978. I started in the wine game, and that was as a laboratory technician. I started then moving into general wine making, but as part of that there was sparkling base, and then really into sparkling only from about 84 onwards. It was just interesting to look at cold climate. We did a tour of Australian mainland and then ended up here. At the House of Arras we've really concentrated on premium vineyards, and we've looked at keeping everything separate that we make. So Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier as varieties that we can blend further down the track. So we aim to keep all those options open and source from as many different vineyards as we can that we think are of suitable quality.
Now, just like champagne, these bottles of sparkling wine are seriously complex. You can use one or a blend of the 3 different traditional grape varieties. You can decide that you want to do oak maturation or age your wine on lees, do a non-vintage sparkling or a vintage sparkling and hold that bottle back for a few years and then do a late release. Yet, in Tasmania as well as other areas around the world, we're in new world wine producing countries. This means that we're not governed by a body that lays on restrictions of how to produce sparkling wine. So winemakers can decide to use a different production method, like the Charmat method, or decide that they would like to use different grape varieties in their sparkling wine. So really, we're brushing the surface on quality sparkling wine production in new world wine producing countries today. Being able to check out Tasmania has been one of the more rewarding experiences that I've had since I've come to Australia. And catching up with Ed Carr this morning outside of Launceston, Tasmania, and going fly fishing, getting a bit of trout and eggs for breakfast, just reminded me of being back at home in the Pacific Northwest. Except it was a little bit different because I got to have it with some Tasmanian sparkling wine, one of the country's top wines in the area. And now I've gone through the top of his range, wines that have been aged on lees for years, and I feel like it's the end of my experience, but it's not, because there's an absolutely incredible adventure awaiting me at the bottom of the island. Driving down to the south of Tasmania was absolutely gorgeous, going through Lake Petta and coming in and checking out this national park near Mount Field. It's a beautiful area, probably the best spot in Tassie. And even checking out this area behind me looks like absolute heaven. Yet you might notice that big line where it stops and it turns in to what I've kind of realized might be hell, considering the guide told me there's Tasmanian devils waiting at the bottom if the line breaks while I do the largest abseil in the world, 140 meters, about 380 to 400 feet.
It's adjustable at the back, so put it on your head, we'll see how it feels.
This will protect me if I fall 140 meters.
140.
I'll survive. This guy.
No, they become yellow, red helmets then.
Oh, multicolored.
If you see any holes in the side of the dam, Colin, put your finger in and just sing out loud. We'll call the hydro to come and pick them, patch them up.
So there's Tassie devils waiting down at the bottom for me. If the line breaks, I guess they eat the skin, the hair, the bones, the whole thing. Why do we do this? Love wine. Wish I had a bottle of Tassie sparkling to celebrate when I hit the bottom.
So 3 leg over.
I'm not gonna look down.
No.
Ah! Okay,
That's really cool.
So now I'm going a little bit.
Yep. Excellent.
It's all right. I can do this. I'm not a sissy. Got this. Oh my gosh, I just looked. Okay, oh my gosh, I don't even like looking around. Oh, it's scary doing the abseil. We're climbing up the rickety little ladder about the size of the Space Needle where I'm from. That was definitely more sporty. I like the one where I could sit on my ass and scream like a girl. Quite stoked to be back down here in South Australia. This time we're going to be going down to drink wine with the sharks. No one has ever done this before. It'll be a world record breaking wine drinking day deep in the ocean.